here. Kirby Smart and Mike Norville Kirby Smart, Mike Norville congratulating Kirby Smart, shaking hands at the center of the field. Final score in the Orange Bowl, Georgia 63, Florida State 3. There you go. But what a dominating performance, of course, for the University of Georgia. You got a feel for Florida State, undefeated during the regular season, winning the ACC championship, but then decimated by all of the transfers and all of the kids going into the portal and some injuries and that kind of thing. This was not the Florida State team that won the ACC championship and went undefeated in a Power Five conference. I know it's disappointing for Florida State fans. Not only is it disappointing, it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. Hopefully, the 12-team playoff scenario now that will be in college football. Hopefully, that's going to maybe take care of something like this. This is not. It just wasn't good for college football. It's good for Georgia. Georgia making a statement, 63-3. Obviously, the TV commentators, which, by the way, Jesse Palmer and Tessitore, they do a great job. Talking about Georgia being obviously one of the best four teams in the country, you can't deny that. But the way the system was set up for this year, Georgia was denied being in the college football playoffs. But this is a statement win by the University of Georgia, 63-3 over Florida State. So, what do you think as we wrap up our coverage of the Orange Bowl? Georgia concludes the 2023 season, obviously on a high note. The biggest, I guess, the biggest differential in a college football game, I think they were saying, the commentators were saying, ever. Georgia was able to kind of empty the bench. Even Will Muschamp's son able to go to get into the game and play in the Orange Bowl, so that's kind of cool. But Georgia with a big win. So congratulations to Kirby Smart and the University of Georgia. You might be kind of interested in the stats, the final stats for the game. Carson Beck finished 13 of 18 and passing for 203 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Let's see, Gunnar Stockton, 6 of 10, 96 yards. Gunnar looking very well with 2 touchdown passes as well. And Colin Drake, 1 of 1 for 2 yards in passing. As far as rushing is concerned, Milton had 104 yards. Roderick Robinson looking very sharp, 70 yards. Dejon Edwards, 62 yards. Gunnar Stockton ran for 46 yards. Cash Jones, 32 yards. Ladd McConkey, 27 yards. Andrew Paul, 21 yards. Dylan Bell had 5 receptions for 86 yards. Dominic Lovett, 3 receptions, 38 yards. A host of Georgia players receiving passes in this game. Again, the final score, Georgia 63 and Florida State 3. And total yards, as far as total yards is concerned, Georgia had 673 total yards to Florida State's 209 total yards in this game. Florida State had 4 turnovers. Georgia had no turnovers. And Georgia had 37 first downs. Florida State had 11. Just a total domination of this game as Georgia wins the Orange Bowl. And let's see, just checking. Toledo, is that game final? Not quite. Toledo is beating Wyoming at the moment. Maryland took out Auburn rather convincingly today. Auburn, that's a disappointing score, 31-13. Ole Miss took out Penn State. Ole Miss playing very well, looking very well today. Now, what's ahead of us as far as college football is concerned? On Monday, you have Wisconsin and LSU. That's in the ReliaQuest Bowl. That's down in Tampa, Florida. That's at 12 noon. Then at 1 o'clock, you have Iowa and Tennessee. That'll be the Citrus Bowl from Orlando, Florida. That's Monday at 1 o'clock. Also, Monday at 1 o'clock, you have the Fiesta Bowl. Liberty, 13-0, undefeated, taking on Oregon 11-2, or 11-2, rather. And then, of course, you have the college football playoff games. You have Alabama and Michigan coming up Monday at 6 o'clock. Then you have at 8:45 Texas and Washington in the college football playoff games. That's what lies ahead. So, what do you think? You guys think? Well, John, thank you so much. Happy New Year to you, and we'll be in and out, of course, talking about Georgia football, and we'll be covering some other things having to do with the University of Georgia sports in the days to come as well. Brandon, I'm pretty sure Norville didn't even shake Kirby's hand, or at least I didn't see it. They did shake hands, Brandon. It was just very briefly. And, you put your players out there, even your second and third players. You can't tell them, look, don't score. I mean, these guys have practiced. You can't tell them, to throttle it back. You just can't tell them that as a coach. You put them out there and you let them play, and hopefully the other team, maybe can bow up and keep the score manageable. But yeah, I did see the handshake at the middle of the field, and it was a quick one. It was a quick one. I think Norville probably understood the situation. He's Mike Norville is a good guy, and he's a top-notch guy. And Kirby, of course, is not the kind, he's not going to rub it in. And I think Coach Smart did everything he could to kind of control the situation. But you got to let your players play, and they're playing in the Orange Bowl. And if you're a second, third, or third stringer, and you haven't played, your coach can't go to you and say, "Look, we're going to put you in, but don't play hard." No, you can't do that. Those guys need to play, have to play, should play, and you can't throttle that back. So it is what it is. I mean, you put the product on the field. It is what it is. Um, that was a statement game. I agree with Brandon. He says this was a statement game. I don't know if that was the intention or not. To be honest with you, it could have been. I think it was probably more. If you think about a statement game, it's probably more of an intention of the players than it is the coaches. The players making the statement. Um, but you have to say, after watching this game, you can't say that Georgia is not one of the best four teams in the country. And in fact, I would make a case that you just saw the best team in the country play in the Orange Bowl, the University of Georgia. I think Georgia could take out Michigan easily. I'm not sold on Michigan. I think Alabama's going to beat Michigan by 3 touchdowns. I just do. I just do, and I may be totally wrong in that. And I think the only team that Georgia would struggle with of the 4 that are in the college football playoffs, I believe, and this is just what I believe, would be Alabama. Alabama. I think Alabama's going to win the national championship, but that's the speculation, and we'll have to leave it to there. But a wonderful game for the University of Georgia. The seniors for the University of Georgia won 50 games in their college football career playing football at Georgia. That's amazing. That's wonderful. In 4 years, or some of them had more than 4 or 5 years, or whatever the case may be, the seniors won 50 games. Essence says Florida State is trash. Well, this was not the Florida State team that won all of those games, and that's the very disappointing thing, you know, and very very disappointing that this was just not the team that won the ACC championship, and this was not the team that went undefeated. And I feel for Florida State fans. This is not the way that this season should have ended for Florida State. It really is not. Not to say that Florida State had the capability of winning the national championship. I don't think they, I don't think they had the ability to do that. But this is unfair to Florida State fans. Actually, it's unfair to Florida State players. But I don't know the answer to the thing, other than the portal, just decimated this team. But it's kind of interesting on the Georgia side. You had opt outs. You certainly had opt outs for the University of Georgia, but you didn't have like a lot of the frontline guys. Um, the Dogs do deserve, I agree with you, Essence, to be in the college football playoffs. Of course, my argument was this game should have been a playoff game. Why can't you be nimble and be able to make decisions just on the fly? Why can't you be nimble and say, okay, these are two good teams, we're going to make them a part of the college football playoffs? But obviously, that didn't happen. So, congratulations to the University of Georgia. Great game. And I tell you, you watch this game and you see the young talent that is yeah, for the University of Georgia. My projection is that when the preseason polls come out for next year, Georgia will be the number one team, ranked the number one team in the country. You see the talent that Georgia has. And wow, it's the things look bright for the University of Georgia. All right, guys, we probably will come in with you and talk a little bit about football on the for the games Monday when it comes up to the playoff games, college football playoff games. And then we'll, of course, when the college football playoff championship game comes on the 8th, we'll pop in and give you the opportunity to sound off on who's going to win that. But good night for the University of Georgia. God bless you all. We pray that you'll have a good and blessed night and a happy, happy new year. 2024 is coming our way. So we end as we always end when we do these kind of things. Go Dogs.